I'm going to introduce you to our wonderful teacher this evening. I see a lot of people are here that were in our knitting class, so we do have our wonderful instructor, Brigitte Pieke, back again for crochet. And if you aren't familiar with Brigitte, she owns a yarn store here in Urbana, Illinois. Her yarn store is beautiful. We'll be taking a little virtual tour of it later on this evening. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to her. She is a longtime knitter and a novice. What would you say? An adequate crocheter? I forget what word you used, but I found it hilarious.
Adequate crocheter is about right.
Right. Yeah, she knows enough to teach you the basics, and I promise the stuff she's made is absolutely wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and head over to you, Brigitte. Here you are.
Yeah. Hello to Crocheting 101. So I'm glad you're all here, and I want to teach you how to do the basic crochet. Before we had the internet, we usually learned from our family members, mostly grandmothers. They always had time, and people needed to be busy, you know, so they needed to do that. My grandmother taught me how to knit, and she made a big ball and put candy in there. I said that last time already. It was like gold in 1954. And I knitted so much to get to that candy. It was amazing, you know. So I learned pretty fast, and as an 8-year-old, you really want to get to the candy and to the gold. That was important. So yeah, but she didn't teach me how to crochet. That was really sad. But she lived very far away, so she could only do it when she came to visit, you know. So I learned from books and from friends who sort of set me straight on how to do a straight edge. And after I had done that, I got a little bit better with that. About 15 years ago, I visited my son in Newcastle in Britain, and I didn't want to have a lot of luggage. So I took a little book and some yarn and a crochet hook. And I crocheted myself through the whole book. So, but what I discovered was that the people in Britain think that a double crochet is what we call here a single crochet. So it's one down. This one is done with a double crochet, but once you know how to do a single crochet, you can do a double crochet, not a problem. Okay, so that was 2 years before I opened the store, and I learned from my friends, especially Edda. She is a very good crocheter and a very good knitter. I became an acceptable crocheter, that's what I said. Now with YouTube, you can find anything, and it's very easy. But before that, it was a little bit of a problem. So what I want to teach you today is I want to teach you how to do a slip knot, how to hold the hook, so you do it right, how to make a foundation chain, that is the basics, how to make a single crochet, a turning chain, and if we have enough time, I will do a half double crochet with you, and then we fasten off and weaving in the ends with a darning needle. So now I want to talk about the materials a little bit.
I'm gonna pause you, Brigitte. We're gonna I want to share something with you that someone just said in the chat. Sarah has said, "Thanks for sharing. My grandmother's taught me how to embroider, bake, and cook, play instruments, and I share my crochet and knit progress every Sunday with my grandmother on Zoom."
Wonderful.
So that warms my heart.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for sharing, Sarah. And everyone, I want to go ahead and pose a question right up top. And we want to hear, are you brand new to crocheting? Are you coming here to catch up? Do you know how to crochet and you just wanted to join in on the fun? Go ahead and share in the comments if you're a first-time crocheter, if you're, okay, we've got a lot of brand new crocheters, wonderful. And we're going to take a little moment to visit, actually, virtually Brigitte's yarn store called Klose Knit in Urbana. A lot of you were in the knitting class, I know, so you've already you've already been there, but we're going to watch again. You can't watch enough. So give me just a second to share my screen with you, and then I'm going to come back and kind of read through some of the chats after we watch this video. So give me just a moment here and we're going to get Brigitte all set up to get started with our instruction for today. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight over here. Thea, why don't you go ahead, if you don't mind, read through some of the responses that we got so everyone can hear, and I'm going to go adjust some camera settings, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, wonderful.
Let me go back here. Seems like a lot of people are new. Turn the video on so you can see me. Some have said, I've tried but never learned the right techniques. They can't fully read the patterns. Don't worry about the patterns yet.
Here we go.
Just learn how to do the single crochet or the double crochet, and you should be good to go. Someone said I'm new to knitting, but or I can knit, but I'm new to crochet. Someone said I've never had a hook in my hand. That's funny. Someone's gonna relearn. A lot of people, it's been years. Someone said, can do a chain, but don't know how to make anything. Hey, you can make a necklace. Just keep chaining and then put it together. Got a necklace. Boom. Yeah. And one said, my grandmother taught me about 15, 20 years ago, and I got away from it and forgot. Someone actually took a knitting class with you, Brigitte, years ago, they said, and they said that you're a wonderful teacher.
Thank you.
A lot of people are catching up. Someone says, I'm 61, learned from older sister at age 8. Wow. Learned to crochet as a little kid from my grandma. Haven't done it in probably 40 years.
These are so great. Thank you, everyone, for sharing.
There's a lot more, but I've been knitting for years,
a lot more.
So everybody knows. Knitting and crocheting.
Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit about some materials. If you've gotten your materials from the library, you will have some worsted weight yarn. That is sort of the medium yarn. Yeah, so it's number 4 in the crochet store. And a letter with an I wanted to show that with an H on it, but it also has 5 millimeter on it. Yeah. So nowadays they make the alphabet letter and also the millimeters. And I'm very happy about that because the patterns are going globally. And I am so much for the metric reversal there, or not reversal, but metric revolution, because patterns are going globally now. Yeah, so that is good. So the first thing we are doing is to do a slip knot, and I just recently learned that it's very, very easy. So you put your finger over top of your index finger, the yarn over your index finger, I'm sorry, and you take your hook. You see me how to do it. You are taking the yarn, which is close to your knuckle. You put it over top of the first yarn and then go into the yarn over top and you put it over your fingertip and you have your slip knot. Isn't that amazing? So let's do it 2 more times, okay? So over your index finger, 2 times, okay? You hold this with your middle and thumb finger, okay? Then you go take the yarn close to your knuckle, put it over top, let go, take the one which is the first one and put it over your fingertip all the way down and you have it. Okay, this is your slip knot. I wished I knew if you got it or not. So if you can say, yes, I got it, that would be great. I'll do it one more time. Somebody is saying that they have no sound. Okay.
We'll have to check into that. I see that people are saying they are getting the slip knot.
They're getting the slip knot.
Getting the slip knot.
Okay.
If you're the person having issues with sound, go ahead and just message us, just the panelists privately, and I will work with you to get that set up.
You can also do it with your hand. You take the yarn from the close to your knuckle, you put it over top, then you take this one and you put it down under and you have your slip knot. It's better with the needle. For some reason, for demonstration, it goes better this way. There. And it doesn't want to come. Okay. And then you have your slip knot. You put it over top of your fingernail. Okay. So now you have your your slip knot and you put it on the needle and close it a little bit so that it is close to the shaft here, okay? I wanted to explain to you what the pieces of the crochet hooks are. So the first one is the head. It's called the head. And the part right underneath is called the throat. You can definitely remember that one because that sort of hooks the yarn in there. And this part here is the shaft. That makes sure that it is the same stitch everywhere. So when you do it like that,
Hey, Brigitte, we've got somebody that says they'd like to see the slip knot one more time if you can do it another time.
fine, no problem. So you take a little bit of yarn, like 5 or 6 inches, you put it over top of your index finger and you hold it with your thumb and your middle finger.
Come into the frame a little bit more. We kind of missed it.
Yeah, and then you take the yarn which is close to your knuckle, you put it over top, put it right there, and take this string and put it over top of your finger and you have your slip knot. Okay, slip knot, it's called a slip knot because you can just slip it.
Gail, did you get that one? Let me know and I just want to make sure you're good before we move on.
Yeah, okay.
We've got plenty of time.
Yeah, okay. So the top of the hook is called the head. The part underneath is called the throat, and the middle part here is the shaft. So just to make sure that you know what these parts are. So now we are going to do the foundation chain. And I have to find where that is. Here's the foundation chain. Okay, so you have your slip knot, which is going to sit right on the shaft of the needle, and you hold this with your left hand. It's a two-handed process. So you understand how to hold the crochet hook. So you put your yarn over top of the pinky, and then it goes over top of the index finger, and the middle finger and thumb are holding on to the yarn underneath the shaft. Okay, one more time. In here, over your pinky, over your index finger, and then those two fingers hold the little knot underneath the shaft. Okay. Did everybody get that? Got it. Good. Okay. Didn't get it. Okay, one more time. This is a two-handed process. You have your right hand needle like a knife. You hold it like a knife when you cut something. You hold that with your right hand, and the left hand is going to go over your pinky and over your index finger. Middle and thumb go right underneath the shaft. Okay. Okay. Did everybody get it?
I'm going to say demonstrate it one more time. Let's just let everybody, I think we're still maybe not sure about the slip knot. I think most people have it, but
yeah. It is really difficult. You can't return it. You cannot rewind it.
I know. That's what makes it a little bit challenging. So, Gail, too, I don't know if it's helpful for you to know, you can do the slip knot without using the hook as well. So you could just...
I can do it without the hook.
Yeah, let's demonstrate just using your fingers.
So you put it around like that. You put the yarn close to your knuckle over top of the first yarn. Then you take it over top and put it over top of your finger, the tip of your finger, and you are there. Did you get it? So then for the left hand, you take it around the pinky. You don't have to do this. I find that distracting. So then you put it around your index finger and you hold it with your right hand right beneath the shaft there. That's important because you need to continue to do that. You let go and you put it on again. Okay. Okay. You think we got it?
How we feeling, everybody? I've gotten several yeses, so.
Okay, good. Okay.
Someone's asking if there were pattern instructions in the handout. No, there are not. But this webinar session is being recorded, so you will be able to rewatch this. We'll be posting it to our YouTube channel. The library has a YouTube channel, and we'll be sharing that probably, I would say, by the weekend. I should have it up. We'll see, as long as there's no major hang-ups anywhere. There are some illustrations on the back. Some are things we'll be learning, some are not. It was just a nice, helpful little illustration we included for you for future.
If somebody is looking for patterns, they need to go to Ravelry. And it's Ravelry.
I will put a link in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, that would be great because there are thousands of patterns and it is free. So this is a wonderful service. And they have been doing that for 15 years. So good. Okay. So now we're here and we want to do the foundation chain. Yeah. I want you to put 10 stitches on there, just in general. Yeah. You take your hook and you put the slip stitch on the hook. You have that already. You put the hook in front of the yarn. You see that. Then you hook it and the head of the hooks is up. Then you're going to, the throat is going to go down and it's going through the hole. Okay. So in front of the yarn, you hook it, you turn it down and you put it into the hole. I have 2 stitches already. And I want to do 11. Around the down and up. So first of all, you go up and then you go down and you go like this. This is important because when you are up and you are trying to go through this hole with the hook on up, then it doesn't go very fast. So I get stuck here. Yeah. So that means you need to put it down and go through the hole. Okay. So that's called a yarn over. You hook it, you put it down, and you put it through the loop. And then you always go with your finger right underneath the shaft here. So the thumb and the middle finger hold it there. That gives you a little stability too.
Okay, let's take a little question break here.
Okay.
Sarah wants to know, how do you know how loose or how large your chain stitches should be? She says she has a huge problem with gauge, and I totally understand. I am doing this for the first time along with you all. So I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. This is the time to try this out. Make it small and pull on the yarn and see it's too tight. Yeah. Make it big because there goes the yarn and you go through there and it's too far too big. Yeah. So you need to just sort of try to make it what is right. It should look like this. It should look like here, like a little it looks like a braid. Yeah, can you see that?
I think too, you want it to be like, I can see it when you're moving it. There's a little give to your chain. Like it's almost like if you were to pull on it, it moves a little bit. So it's not so tight that it's like everything's stuck in place, but it's not so loose that you could stick. I mean, it doesn't look like there are holes.
Yeah.
Does that help anybody? I don't know.
Yeah. When you do the yarn over, and that's what is like that. Yeah.
Yeah, someone is saying you should be holding it loose enough so that the yarn slides through your fingers and there shouldn't be tension.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You have
Okay.
to have a little bit of tension, sort of,
Right.
you know, but not too much and not too little. It's like the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
we've got some people saying, how do you make sure that your stitches are the same size?
yeah. After a while, you will get there.
I
If
mean, you
you,
will. You'll get there.
yeah. You just have to make sure that you keep the tension, you go up and then down again, and you hold it like, let me see where I can show that. The little finger holds it there, and the index finger sort of gets it into the right position. See? Yarn over, the head goes down and through. So try that. It doesn't matter if you have 10 or not. You can do many more until you get it. You do the yarn over, you go down and through the hole. Yarn over, head down through the hole. Yarn up, hook it, put it down and through the hole. Does that make sense?
Let's go ahead. I'm going to have you start from step one. I know everyone's seen the slip knot, but let's do slip knot and let's start so we can just all see what you're doing. Even if you want to start a different project, that's okay.
You can continue knitting or you continue crocheting if you know all that stuff, but we take care of the people who don't know so much. Okay. So we put it around the finger. We put it over top of the first string, then take the second one and put it around, and then you have the slip knot. So then we do it with the, this is 2 times over top of the index finger. You put it over here. You take the second yarn and put it over top of your finger. So that's the slip knot. We can also teach it like you put it around when you have a table in front of you. You make like a little circle, and the yarn which is on top goes underneath, and then you pull on both strings. Sorry, that didn't work. Okay, that's where the circle is. You put it underneath, and then you pull on both strings. So there are different ways to do a slip knot, but I found the last one, which I showed you, very easy to remember. Okay. So, okay. One more time. Okay. Slip knot goes on here, and it's a two-handed process. You put it on the shaft. You take your left hand, you put it over your pinky, over top of the index finger, and hold it with your middle finger and your thumb. Okay, good. Now you're doing the yarn over. You're going to catch the yarn. You go in front of the yarn. You catch it. You put the head of the hook down so that you can go through the hole. Yarn over. Head goes up. Now it goes down through the hole. I'll make it bigger. The yarn goes through. But this is not something we want to crochet. It doesn't have structure, you know. It has to be a little smaller. Yeah, so the person who wasn't sure how big it should be, your yarn will sort of tell you when it's right. It makes a little braid after a while. Yeah. Up.
So we have someone saying they don't know what you mean by hole. So I'm going to jump in here and see if I can help. So when she's saying hole, what she means is the stitch that's on your hook. So you yarn over. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but you yarn over. So you kind of grabbed your yarn in the hook, and then you rotate your hook down, and you pull it through the stitch that's on your hook. Does that help?
Yeah, the stitch is on the needle, on the hook. Yeah, in there, and then you pull it through here. This is like in knitting, it is like casting on. You need that foundation chain to make anything. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Lisa, I'm going to ask you a question. If you want to just respond to me, cool. If you want to respond to everybody, great. Do you have your slip knot on your hook?
Me? Okay.
No, I'm asking one of our participants here. Yes. Okay. So you're pulling the yarn over through that slip knot that's on your hook. So demo that one more time. I'd say make your slip knot quick, and then let's just really look at what.
Yeah, I think
what you're
that
doing
they
here.
Have to make sure that they understand that it's a two-handed process. With the left hand, you hold the yarn, and you hold it right underneath. This is your first stitch right here. It doesn't count later on, but this is your stitch where you go through. It has to go through something. The yarn goes up, hook it, put it through. The yarn goes up, hook it, put it through. Yeah? Is that clear now?
All right, let's take a moment and have everybody kind of comment. So we've got our foundation chain. Are you ready to move on to the single crochet?
I will say
That's
this
what we're doing
quick,
next.
Laura. Someone said it sounds like they're left-handed. Can you?
Oh.
Can you?
You have to do it. It's just like when you knit. It's a two-handed process. It doesn't matter if you're left-handed. Just do it like I showed it, because everything is written like that. You get yourself in a lot of trouble if you learn how to do it left-handed. I have some people at the store and they cannot knit right-handed, and they've done it for 20 years. If you learn it, please learn it right-handed. Right-handed. Yeah.
I understand. My dad is left-handed and he's a drummer, and he's had to learn all sorts of funky things.
Yeah.
Because they don't teach it for lefties.
Right. I know my granddaughter is lefty too, and I don't know how to teach her. I'm sorry about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
We've got a lot of readies. We've got a couple not so ready. So we'll do like maybe a couple more. Let's do a couple more demos of the chain, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, okay. So you have your hook on the right-hand side. You have your yarn in the left-hand side. You're doing a yarn over. The head of the crochet hook goes down to go through that hole. The hole is the one which was on the hook already. Okay, and I want you to have 11 stitches. And you can see my wrist moves. Yeah, when you see that. I'm watching the screen right now.
Gail said her sister was a lefty, but the lady that taught her made her learn right-handed. We're doing the same.
Right. Yeah, it's so much better, you know, if you are learn it the right way, because or the right-handed way, you will do yourself a favor because otherwise people they give up, you know. So, and I don't want you to give up. So if you have 11 stitches, you have one stitch where the needle is on it. So this is the stitch. This does not count. That's why I made you do 11 stitches and not 10. So you go into the next stitch, then you yarn over front, back, and through there. Then you have 2 stitches on the needle, yarn over, and through both of the stitches. That was a little fast, I know. Okay, so you go into the next stitch And that stitch is just the top half of that chain which you made. You go into the
Hey,
hole.
Brigitte,
Yeah.
is it possible, I know it might be kind of awkward, but for this step, is it possible for you to hold your hands a little higher up? So maybe,
Like so?
yes, I think it'll be a little easier for folks to see your chain and what's going on.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. So you go into the next stitch, you yarn over, head down, through the hole, and out. You have 2 stitches on it now. Then you move your hand so you have a little stability there, and you yarn over and go through both stitches. Okay, next one. You go into the stitch, and when you look at the stitch, it is like a braid in the front and it's very bumpy in the back. We want the front. We want what looks like a braid. Okay, so into the stitch, yarn over, yarn, the needle has to be up. You catch it with the throat, you pull it, go down, and you pull it through the hole.
So tell us what you mean going into the next stitch. So show us what you mean by that. So you're physically sticking the hook inside that stitch.
Right. Okay. I wish I could show it better. You see the hole through there? You see it? That's where you have to go in. There's like a top half. It looks like a V, and you want to go to the top half of that and pull your needle through there. And then you go into the yarn over. The head goes down and through that hole. Then you have 2 stitches on your needle. Yarn over again. You see how my wrist worked? And down here.
Sarah just said, I think this will help people. You put the stitch through the chain that you just built, and that's how you stack the stitches. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, that's the chain which you just made. This is the foundation chain. And that is like the cast on in knitting. Yeah. Okay, does that help everybody?
I think I'm going to say go ahead and keep demonstrating that several more times and just kind of like talk through it. I think that will help.
So we go into the stitch. I'm going back out. You can see that hole there. You can see the hole. Can you see it now? And you push your hook in there. You do the yarn over, up, catch it, and head down and through the hole. Then you have 2 stitches on the needle. You do it over again. That is a yarn over, and you put it through both stitches at the same time. Sometimes you lose it, like I did. But it's easy in crocheting. You can always redo it very easily. Into the hole, foundation chain. Catch it with the sword, put the needle down. Okay. And then you have 2 stitches on the needle. You yarn over and you put it down again. Very slowly now. Into the stitch. Into the stitch. Yarn over. Go through the hole. You have 2 stitches on the needle.
I'm gonna pause for a second. We have several questions coming in that they're having a tough time seeing. So you all, if you have a moment, keep working. I'm going to pop over to Brigitte's camera. I want to see if I can get it just a little closer to her hands and see if that will help you all see exactly what she's doing a little better.
Yeah, I'm trying to show you that. That's where the stitch is. You go in. Okay. Does it get a little better? Yeah, okay. 2 stitches on the needle and you pull through. Okay. So this little chain here looks a little weird, but it gets better as time goes on. It will get a lot better, but I'll open it again and redo the whole thing over again. Okay. So we would like to hear where you are. What is not clear to you? Staying on the needle, then you don't pull it through. I'm doing something wrong because mine is staying on the needle. You go through there, you do the stitch, and then you have 2 stitches on the needle. You do another yarn over and you pull it through both of them. I think that was your problem. Okay, you go into the stitch, you go through it. I think this is better now.
It looks good to me. I think
Yeah.
I think it's a little easier to see where you're putting your needle.
Yeah.
Or your hook. Dang it.
Yeah. I know.
I'm a knitter, so I always say needle.
So this is where you can see the hole now, right? Okay. You put your hook in there, then you turn the needle up, you hook it, you do the yarn over, you put the needle down, the head down, you pull through the hole, you have 2 stitches on the needle, you do another yarn over, and you go all the way down through those 2 stitches. Okay. So I hold it where the next stitch is. That's when you can see it too. Your finger sort of helps you where to look at the material where you go into. So this is the next stitch. Yarn over in here, then you have 2 stitches and you go through here. Okay.
How's everybody doing? Someone asked, what is it called? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. So we're doing a single crochet right now, if that's what you're talking about. I'm not sure though. So just check in with us. How you doing? Should we keep going over that single crochet again? I would, if it were me, I've like gotten a little distracted now and I somehow had like 3 stitches on my hook. So I don't know what I did.
Do yarn over and pull through those.
Okay.
Into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, and do another yarn over and pull through both stitches at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
I know these are kind of tough to do when you're, like I sympathize with everyone. It's hard because you want to pause the video and like do it and then,
right.
But it's just not the way we're set up. So feel free to ask if you have questions. Let us know if you're ready to do a double or half double, I think is what we're doing. It's also cool.
Yeah, we're still in the single crochet.
Yeah, so it's cool if we want to spend some more time in single crochet and just keep doing that. we've got 40 minutes. So
Because when we do that, we need to do the turning chain and then go backwards. And then we go back and forth. And that's the beginning of the single crochet, but it changes a little tiny bit when we do the next row.
And I will say that the second row is a little bit easier than the first row.
Yeah, much better. The first row is always awful.
Always the hardest.
Yeah, the same is true for knitting.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
yeah, let's see. Thea, do you want to show what you're doing real quick?
Sure.
I'm gonna spotlight Thea's video for a moment. Thea's got her own crochet kit, so maybe it will be helpful to see another crocheter doing her thing.
That is much better. How come she can do it so clearly there?
I think she's holding her hook like up to the computer screen, right up to the camera.
Right up to the camera.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get my fingers out of the way.
So let's watch Thea do what she's doing and see if that helps.
And then here, let me start from this hard chain here. So then you go through the hole like this for your chain. And then when you're going back, you always want to skip that first one. You see that first one right there? It's a little. And then you put it in here. You see that hole?
Yeah, much better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there. And then you have it like this. And then again, you turn it.
Yarn over. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the 2 on there. And then you yarn over and then you pull it 2-2.
Yeah.
And then there's your
wonderful
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thea, show that a few more times. And everybody, if you're pay attention to what Thea's doing, I think it's going to be helpful for you to see that really up close view.
Yeah. And it may be backwards because it's backwards on mine. Is it backwards on you guys?
No, it's not.
Looks good to us.
Okay. And then you yarn over. And then you go for that next hole, which is right there. And then put it through. Yarn over. Oops. And then you have 2. And then pull it through both.
Wonderful. We've got some folks kind of chatting in the chat saying having problems keeping rows even, and someone responded, Sarah responded and said, yes, I'm also awful at keeping things consistent, but I guess it comes with practice. Yes.
Just keep going. You have to, I tell that to everyone, just do the motions, and then very soon you can get your tension correct. And then that's what I got.
Yeah, and I think you do exactly the same thing as I do. You put it around your pinky and then your index finger. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like Thea is doing, you roll it over your index finger twice.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
You're teaching it like this, how I started.
Yeah.
Look, but now I can't do it.
Right. So now we've seen everything so close. This is really great. Let's do a turning chain. Let's do a turning chain.
Let's do a turning chain. So I'm going to pop back over to Brigitte. Thea, thank you so much.
And let her be there because that is important.
Let me see. Okay, why don't I'm going to I'm going to just hide my own screen here and unspotlight and see how that view is for people to be able to see both of your, both of you. So give me just a second to figure out how to make that happen. Someone asks, for the next row, do you go through both loops? So
yes.
Yes, and that's why it's so much easier on the second round, because your space is a little bit bigger.
Yeah. The first row and the second row is really difficult. Mm-hmm. So now you do a turning chain. And that is just a chain which you did for the foundation row. Same thing. Yarn over and pull it through the hole.
All right, you guys let me know. I'm
Oh, that is good. Yeah.
spotlighting both of you so you can both kind of work together. So
Yeah.
you all let me know if that is not working, but unless I hear otherwise, I think it looks nice. So
Yeah. Okay. And now you turn it around and you see the first one. Don't put it through your turning chain. Put it in the first chain and you see it right here. It's very simple to see now.
Mm-hmm.
Yarn over and you have 2 on your hook, yarn over and through there. And your side is very even. So you go into the stitch, yarn over, 2 stitches on there, and through both. Into the stitch, and you see it. You see that this one's busy. It's always the next one. Okay, there. That's great.
Yeah, Jenny, yeah, once I get to the end, I'll show you how to turn again because we'll do the turning chain
Yeah,
and then we'll turn it.
yeah, much better. Into the hole. And this is the single crochet. Once you get it into your muscle will know what to do next.
All
Into
right,
the,
Jenny, here I go. I'm on my last stitch.
I'm almost there.
Almost there. Okay.
The last one is always a little bit of a problem. You have to
Mm-hmm.
pull it apart a little bit. See, there is the stitch. There. And that is important to have straight lines. Yeah, so make sure that you get into the last stitch as well. Do a yarn over and you have your row completed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good idea to count them too. So you can count them if you had 10 to start with, but if it doesn't make sense to do, be very overbearing with this. Just make sure that you know what it looks like on the top. It looks like a chain again. Yeah, do you see it? Much better.
All right, Jenny. Here's that
Turning chain?
chain. Here's your chain. And then you just turn it around.
Yeah, I'm
And
already turned
you'll
around.
go into, through that first hole there.
Yeah, don't crochet into the turning chain.
Correct.
Just in the first stitch.
Yeah, and you are going through both of the loops. And
Yeah,
I hear somebody saying that the one strand. You see both of my loops are on there.
yeah.
I'm going through both of my loops.
Go in, you yarn over, you have 2. Then you go through both.
Mm-hmm. I got 2.
I love being able to watch both of you
Yeah.
crochet on these two screens. It's very therapeutic for me. I'm like zoning in on what you're doing and people are asking questions and I'm like, no guys, I'm sorry, I'm watching. No, but we do have a couple of questions. I want to make sure we're addressing the turn. Gail is asking, are we going through both strands
Yeah.
on my one on row 2? Sorry, that was my fault.
Yes, you are. You're going through both of them. You see it now. You see right here, you have like the total V is together and you go through both of them. Then you do a yarn over and you have 2 here and then it's the same. So you go through both of them. Into the stitch with both of them. I got a little stuck. So make sure that you don't have it too tight. I like just having for myself, and everybody is different in that respect. I just have like to have one row. I think that Tia is doing 2 rows, but that's too tight for me. I like to have just one. So you need to figure it out what is better for you. So the 2 stitches.
Gail says her row looks even now, which is very
Yeah,
exciting news.
yeah, it is great.
So how's everybody doing? I'm loving watching this. How's your crocheting going? Are you getting it? Great. It looks so good. Awesome.
Here, I'm trying to do left-handed. It's not going very well. But you basically just do the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to teach you left-handed, and I am one of them. But if you're
Yeah.
a left-hander, it's basically the same thing. You still yarn over. And then
I
go
am
over. See, I
doing
can't do
the
it.
turning chain and turn it around so it's in your left hand, and you go with your middle finger and thumb underneath the shaft here. So then you look for your first hole, you go in there, and the single crochet is wonderful. I will show you what I did last night. I made, this is a whole swatch with just single crochets. And you see the little V's on the top. So it's great. So somehow it rolls a little bit, but I will show you how to put in the ends, and then you can maybe wash it or put it under an iron, and then these things will uh, go away. Okay, see the holes?
Lovely.
And I have to say, what in the store we get a lot of people from other countries. So people in India, in Africa, they all crochet. They don't knit, they crochet. I mean, in general, you know, there's here and there is somebody who crochets. Or the lady who came from China, oh my God, she could knit while she talked to you, or she could knit perfectly. Yeah, she was fantastic. But she was the only one. Everybody else crochets. Yeah, so that is. So if it looks good, do you think we can start the half double crochet?
Yeah, I think we're very close. I'm going to read a couple of things since you've been working, so you can hear. Feeling good with single and turning. Sarah says it looks a little bit more elegant than knit somehow. It's better for your arthritis. Yes, I mean I agree. I love knitting, but I think crochet is a little easier to get the hang of, kind of, especially in a setting like this where you've only got an hour or so. It looks wonderful.
Yeah. And I think sometimes certain things lends itself to crocheting. So I made for my daughter, I made her table sets, and it was so much easier to crochet them, and it went so much faster than knitting them. So sometimes you want to know something for the household, and you crochet it. It's much easier than knitting it. Yeah. So, but sometimes when you make a sweater, that I like to knit that one.
They both have their place.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's awesome when people know how to, like you, like both of you, when you know how to do both. So we have a question here from Nancy. Nancy asks, she says the green piece that Thea is working on has more open space than the red piece that Brigitte is working on. Is that a matter of tension, or is that yarn thickness, or what's going on there?
I will say that I'm loosely knitting so you guys can see my knitting.
Yeah. And I think her machine is bigger. You can see it better. Now you can see
Agreed.
mine too.
Yeah, I think Thea is crocheting. She's stitching a little looser, and Brigitte is I do think it's easier to see with the green. Also, maybe just be the yarn. Because if we're gonna hold yours up pretty close to the camera, like flat. So flatten your. Yeah, it's kind of hard because this you guys can't see our setup, but it's kind of nuts to get that overhead view.
I for some reason here that's better now. Yeah, this is what mine looks like. So maybe mine is a little tighter, but I have a size H crochet hook. What do you have?
I have a 5 millimeter, so I 8.
Yeah, that's the same.
Mhm.
So that's where the tension comes in. If you don't pull so hard on it, then you have a looser tension. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Thea and I have a different way of pulling our yarn. And it's in knitting the same thing. You can sometimes see that people will have 2 different sizes. They can go up or down. Yeah.
We have another question coming in. Can you crochet mittens or can you only knit them?
You can crochet them too.
Thea, have you crocheted mittens?
I tried, but they're a little holy because it was back when my tension was a little bit too loose. But yes, you can do it.
See, you guys, I mean, not to sound discouraging because I don't mean it to be at all. It takes practice, especially both with knitting and crochet. I think I said this in the knitting class, but it's a lot of muscle memory that you're doing. Sarah says, let's see, can we see how the turning stitch goes again?
Yeah. I'm just at the end. So that's the end. My hook goes through and you just do a regular foundation stitch hole right here.
Okay. Yeah, she asked, she said she was a little confused. Do you do an extra chain before you turn?
Yes, you do. Because that is true for the height. Later on, when you learn how to double crochet, you do 2 of them. Or triple crochet, you do 3 of them. It's just for the height. So that if you didn't do that, I will do it without that. It would look weird.
Yeah, because see, these are, this is a double crochet. This is a treble crochet.
Yeah.
And they're different. See how much airier they are? I know
Yeah.
I'm probably confusing everybody, but.
Oh my gosh,
longer.
that just clicked for me.
Yeah.
I finally just understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
With single, double, triple.
Right. And it's really
that was really helpful.
it's really important. So when you learn how to knit in the round, and I'm sorry, to crochet in the round, you very often just use your chain stitch and make like a little stem, and then you attach it down there. Here, do you see it? So I can make like little crochets things around my knitted stitch. Do you see it? Tia, can you show how they do it?
Oh, for...
Yeah, for a chain or something, so that you do a chain and then put it in your knitting, in your crocheting. Sorry, it's getting getting tired.
So
yeah,
like
if you hear us say knit, we mean crochet.
Yeah, I
Right.
know. Chain like 3.
Yeah, and then attach it.
And then like skip a couple of holes.
Yeah, right.
And then
It's
go
also a
into
nice
it.
etching.
Yeah. And then
Right.
you have a bigger hole.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
my.
we should try the half double crochet, because then you will understand how to continue on later on. Yeah, once you have it that far, you basically got it. All the other stuff is very simple.
Yeah, let's see the half double. Ladies,
Okay.
let's go. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Okay, good. You do 2 stitches as a turning chain. You turn it around and you go into your stitch. I'm sorry, no.
No,
Do
yeah.
the yarn over first
Mm-hmm.
and then go into your stitch, and then you do yarn over again and you have 3 stitches on your hook, and you pull through all 3 stitches. Okay, once again, you yarn over, you go into the next stitch, you hold it down with your finger a little bit, with your thumb on the right side. Go into the hole, yarn over, go through the hole, then you have 3 stitches on there, and you pull through. You have to make it very loosely so that you get through there very fast. And you make sure that your crochet hook is down, that the head is down. Yarn over into the next stitch, another yarn over, pull through, and through all 3 stitches. Okay. Maybe look at Thea, so that is a little clearer. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over again, pull it through, and pull through all 3 of them.
Double is what we're doing, right?
No,
This
we're
is
doing
half
a
double.
half.
Half double.
Oh.
It's
Oh.
It's my favorite stitch. Look.
It's one of mine too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are in the same situation here.
Yeah.
Look, this is a half double crochet all the way up.
So we have someone saying, so the point of doing a half double, the point is to make, where am I going? Moved. Wider space in between the stitches. Is that true?
Not really. Look at my stitching here. It's not wider.
Not a space necessarily, but
yeah, because you pick it up in the next row, and it is not any wider. It looks a little similar.
yeah,
But
I guess we don't mean. I'm gonna rephrase. Not like the project is wider, but that there's like larger holes in between the stitches. Is that incorrect or?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, that's hard to answer. I mean,
Okay.
It's the same as a single crochet, but I would say it's a little bit like little fatter, a little wider of a stitch.
Okay.
For me, because of my gauge, it gives me, so I don't have all these holes in it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think it will help. Yes. Do we skip 2 stitches at the end when we start a new row?
No. No, you go towards the end like usual. You just add 2 stitches.
Two chains.
2 chains, I'm sorry.
See, at the end, I'm doing my 2 chains instead of the 1 for my turning. So there's 2 instead of 1, and then I turn. And then... What's happening?
Sorry. Sarah said 2 chains.
2 chains, right?
2 chains.
I like the way she spells it.
Yeah,
1
with a Z.
and 1 with a Z. Okay. So now I turn it, and you yarn over, and you go into the first stitch, and you make 3 stitches. Make sure they're nice and loose. Yarn over, head down through all 3 stitches. Sometimes I get a little stuck there, but you can do it.
So when we start crocheting on the new row, do we go in 1 or stitch or 2 stitches?
You go in 1 stitch.
1 stitch.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to go into your chain. So if you have 2 chains, then you want to go into, I would say, the 3rd one, because that's where your first stitch is, right?
That what you just said makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't go into the turning chain. There are 2 stitches which are just going up. They are just determining the height, the height of the.
Here, let me get there. So I'm at the end. I think I got 1 more here. All right, so now I'm going to turn with the half double. So I'm going to chain 2. And then turn. And then here's my chains.
Yeah,
And
don't
then
go in there.
Here, is my first stitch.
Yeah.
See, those are my chains. Let me see.
Right.
And then right here is my first stitch.
Yeah.
So I'm not going into here. Going
No.
into here.
Right there. Right. And you do a yarn over first into the
Correct.
stitch. Then you do yarn over again, and you go through all 3 stitches at the same time. That makes the whole thing a little fluffier.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to say it.
I don't know how to say it either. It just makes it.
Yeah.
But here's my little
Has a little
Yeah.
more shape.
And this one is also, it doesn't curl, it does not curl on the side. I wanted to show you also how to, when you have a darning needle right here, that means the hole is much bigger. Yeah. And sometimes,
We can't
oh, you
see your
can't see my
needle.
needle? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know. We made our guide and then
Yeah.
we moved it. I have a quick question before you go into the darning needle, just because I want to make sure we get to it. Rashmi asks again. They just want clarification. Are we going through both
Yes.
loops? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's hear about a
This
darning
is a-
needle. For folks who don't
Yeah,
know what it is.
A darning needle has a bigger hole on the top, and not always. They have a little end which turns upwards. Hang on, like this. Do you see it?
Yeah, and sometimes they're like just blunt,
Yeah.
dull tips too. They're aren't sharp at all.
Okay. So you put it in here, and then you turn it, and oh, I forgot something. So when you are at the end, you need to be able to cut the yarn. You need to cut the yarn, and then you do exactly what you do in crochet, in knitting. You pull it through.
So this would be what you would do if you were finished with your project. So you all won't be ready for this step yet unless you have a swatch that you'd like to finish off. We just want to show you how to finish it and how to weave in your ends since our class is getting ready to be over.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now, Brigitte?
I'm trying to find the last hole.
Oh, okay.
That is very difficult because I did that yesterday, and I, for some reason, here. Bear with me. Here's the hole. So there. And then this is the end of the yarn. You just pull it through, and it's done. You get your yarn needle, your darning.
So you pull that through your last stitch, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it kind of makes a little knot.
Yeah. And then
Okay,
you take the yarn needle and you go in here on the other side, and oops, something happened. Then you go on the top. Sometimes people do it in different ways. They go through the top one and they weave it in. This didn't work very well. I don't know why there's a problem. But usually there is just a little. I had problems with that last stitch. So now it is good. So you go down here or in the last row, it doesn't matter. And you put it through at least 5 of them.
Perfect. So we're just camouflaging that tail. We're just kind of hiding it in our project so that we'll be able to snip off the end and you're not going to see that yarn tail.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens. And then you make yourself a little crocheting.
A little dishcloth, a little swatch.
Yeah, right.
Wonderful.
I have something else to show you. Or did I show you the, this is what my grandmother did? Oh no, that's not on,
Yeah,
This
show
one.
it. Yeah, I think you can show us. Show us your shawl through the flat lay here, and then before we close out, we'll get to see you wearing it as well.
Okay, so this is my grandmother's shawl, and she did that when she was 85. At that point, she was blind. And so she did that all by feel. Isn't that
That's
amazing?
amazing.
It's just a triangle shawl, but she can do it by feel. Yeah. I have something else to show. This is a granny square. It's all double crocheted. And once you have done all this, is a round one. There is all sorts of different stitches. This is a single crochet, half double, a treble, a double. So they came in different sizes, and I just made a little square with that. And this is also double crochet. And double crochet is you just, what you did for the half double crochet, you put it around your needle, the yarn over, and you put it in. This is a different pattern. This has a very interesting border around it. You can make crochet washcloths like that. And that's another little square.
Hey, Brigitte, how did you do that green edging on that swatch?
I just put a single crochet around it.
So that's something for folks I would look up. You can look up on YouTube, or you could look up just on the internet some tutorials for how to do that. You could also, I'm just going to say, we didn't mention up top, but Brigitte offers lessons at her store. So she would also, I'm just going to speak for her, she would be happy to teach you. If you want to learn anything that we've done, she does offer lessons at her store, so you could contact her for that.
Yeah, good, great. Thank you very much for the... Yeah. So once you have learned how to do the half double crochet, it's very easy to do double crochet, triple crochet, and you just do one more thing. I think I got off of this one. Yeah, here. So this was the half double. So when you do a double, you just yarn over, you go in here, in the hole, you pull through, you have 3 here. And then you do 1 stitch through 2, another yarn over, and then through the next 2. That's all there is. You've basically learned all of the stitches tonight. You have learned how to do how to hold a crochet hook, how to do the foundation chain. Then you put it in there with a single crochet, and now you did half double, and double crochet is very simple to do. So both, then you do 2, and you do another one. It's very simple, and that makes everything holier. Or you have to take a very small hook.
When you do a double crochet, do you do 3 chains at the end of the row?
No, you have 2. When you go in, you have 3, just like with half double. You go through 2, and then you yarn over again and do through the last 2.
Got it.
That's okay, good.
I think that helped. I'm assuming that helped.
Yeah.
Is the cable item knitted or crocheted?
The cable item.
What you got your hooks in on the table?
Yeah, the green.
This one.
Yeah.
That's knitted. I just wanted to put my darning needles into something. So
Is it a hat? What is it?
just a piece of, somebody made a blanket, and there were some leftovers there, and I like this one.
Got it.
So I put it in there. Right.
Okay. Hey, everybody, we're getting close to ending. So I just want to thank you all for coming, and I want to open up the floor if anybody has any questions for us. I'd like to spend the last few minutes of our workshop answering any questions that you have. So feel free to ask, and Brigitte and Thea and I will just continue chatting while they come in. We've got people saying, Rashmi said this refreshed their memory, so that's wonderful. Let's see, so half double, 2 chain at the end, single, 2 chain. Thea, I think Thea needs to read and answer this.
No, she's saying so a half double, you chain 2 at the end. A single, you chain 2 at the end. Double, you chain 2 at the end. I would say a single, you would just chain 1. A double, I would still chain 1. And then a double, I would chain 2. Does that help?
Do anybody have any books, crochet books that you recommend? Brigitte, I know you had one out.
Yeah, How to Crochet. Basic Stitches and Techniques. There's so much out there. I have like half a shelf only on crochet books in the store. So there's so much. And right now there are a lot of different techniques and designs on the market. So if you want to learn how to crochet and to improve it, there's lots out there.
Wonderful. And Thea and I mean, you are attending a library workshop. If you come into the library, Thea and I can certainly help you find some crochet books. So don't hesitate to come in. Are Klose Knit classes happening in person or virtually, Brigitte?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. I think
it's not a problem.
We are working on some, we want to make a hat and things like that with Zoom. But I think come April or May, we will go into persons, by people, yeah. So it's difficult to say, yeah.
What I would recommend for everybody is if you're curious if Brigitte is going to be teaching workshops, I will put the link to her class in this chat, or to her website in this chat right now. She sends out a newsletter
every week.
And I guarantee you when she decides what's going to happen with virtual classes, that will be in her newsletter.
Yeah, I'm 74. And so even though I got my double vaccine, I'm done with that. But not everybody has that done. Yeah, so it's a little difficult to decide that.
Yeah,
and I
you
have
want
a
to be
husband
safe.
who is the same age. So it's a little difficult to decide all these things. But we survived so far, which was great, you know. So
absolutely.
All right, and before we leave, Tara wants to know, do we go in the same stitch as we do the single crochet? Let me go back. In a double crochet, do you enter the stitch at the same point as a single? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. You just have more to do afterwards. You do
Correct.
Single and then single again. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Should I do what?
Here, I'm going to put your camera on real quick. So they can see you.
Yeah. So they can see me and not see me. So thank you very much for coming and learning with us. It was wonderful teamwork tonight. So this was great. Thank you very much for coming and enjoy crocheting. Okay, bye-bye.
Yes, thank you everybody for coming. I missed your exit since I was walking. So thank you everybody for coming to our class. I hope that you got to learn a little bit about crochet. I feel like we had a lot of success stories tonight, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brigitte, for coming. And just as a reminder, I did put Brigitte's website into the chat. Her store is called Klose Knit, and she would love if you wanted to go there and purchase yarn or inquire about classes or get some needles or some hooks. So anyway, Brigitte, thank you so much. She did a 2-part series for us this month, and it was honestly a lot of work. And we've been working really hard to bring this series to you. So thank you so much for helping us out and teaching. And thank you everybody for coming. If you have any questions or feedback about Crafty Adults or anything, please feel free to reach out to the library. But we're going to go ahead and say goodnight to you all. Happy stitching.
Bye-bye.